Alright guys, let's talk about the hands-on test that a couple of you guys are nervous about. One, it's a simple 3-router setup. You need just to set up EIGRP, and then you'll need to set up a loopback. You'll need to create a default route, and then push that default route out to the other routers. So in this example here, everybody is IP'd. You know, these guys are up. This interface is on. All the interfaces are on. This is 192.168.1.0, 192.168.2.0, 192.168.3.0. Then I got 10.1.1 over here and 10.1.1 over here. So the first thing we're going to do is go to router 2 and create a loopback interface. So go to router 2. Alright, remember, to make it a loopback interface, it's just interface, loopback, and I'm going to call this one 0. And I need to give it an IP address. So IP address, I'm going to make this one, how about, I just don't know, 172.16.60.5. with that subnet mask. So now if I get out of there and do show IP interface brief, you'll see loopback 1 shows up. Loopback 1 is 172.16.60.1, and he's up and ready to go. So again, that's all you have to do. Create the interface with interface loopback 0, and then assign it an IP address. You don't need to do a no shutdown. Sometimes I do, just because I'm always in the habit of putting that down, but you do not have to do that on a loopback. Loopbacks are automatically up. Alright, next thing we need to do is set up EIGRP. And EIGRP is very easy. I'm just going to go to all 3 routers and do it. Remember, with EIGRP, it's just router EIGRP space the autonomous system number, which whatever number you give it. 9 times out of 10 is going to be number 1. And then, after you hit enter, you have to put in your network statements. Each network statement advertises a directly connected network. So, in this case over here, he has 10.1.1.0 connected on from the red, and then he has 192.168.1.0 over here. So he's going to need 2 network statements, because there's nothing I can do to make 10 align with 192. Know what I mean? Like if this was 192.168.1, and then over here was 192.168.2, I could do a network statement that was just 192.168.0.0, and that would match them both, so I could just do one network statement. But in this case, because the networks are so far different, this is a Class A, this is a Class C, I cannot create a supernet or anything like that. So I'm going to go to the router. Sorry, try to make this bigger so you guys can see this. And I want you to be able to see the networks. Alright, so once I'm in, it's just router EIGRP 1. So our autonomous system number is 1. Everybody that's in group number 1 is going to talk together. And then network 192.168.1.0. Now, you have to put in the subnet mask, and we're going to do a reverse subnet mask. So our subnet mask with a /24 would be 255.255.255.255.0. So to flip that around, it would be 0.0.0.255. And we would need to do this top one over here, this 10.1.1. So same thing. Network 10.1.1.0. Now this one has a /30 subnet mask. So his reverse, the /30 would be 255.255.255.252. So the reverse of that would be 0.0.0.3. Remember, just take your regular subnet mask and subtract it from all 255s, and you'll get the reverse. Or I'm sorry, the inverse. Alright, so that one's good to go. If I go over here to 2, now he's a little bit different. Duh, already there. He's got 3 networks that he wants to advertise. 10.1.1, 10.1.1 over here, and then the 192.168.2. So, router EIGRP 1. Now, the 10.1.1 network, I can just advertise network 10.0.0.0 space 0.255. Make that a little bigger so you can see it. So in other words, I can just put in the classful network of 10, and that'll match this and this. So both of these will be advertised by EIGRP on router 2 where I'm at. Then I need to do, ooh, didn't like that at all. Let me fix that. Alright, boom. So that one's up. And I also want to do the internal network, if I spell that correctly. 2.0, 0.0.0.255, the inverse. Now, so I put in his two network statements. He's good. If I go over back here to router 1, and I back out and I do a show IP interface brief. Duh, wrong one. Show IP route. You'll see I'm already getting routes from dual. I'm getting one for 192.168.2. So this router up here is advertising this network to me. So that seems like everything's working. So now I need to go to router 3. He's got the same thing. Router EIGRP 1, then the two networks. Network, actually I can just do 10. Oh, I did the exact same. Why do you guys let me do stupid stuff like that? Alright, and then after that, I need to advertise the internal network 192.168, and he is 3.0. and that would be 0.0.0.255. Boom. He's all set. So if I get out of him, and then I go to show IP route, you'll see he's getting advertised the 192.168.1 and the 192.168.2 network, and they're both from dual, so EIGRP is working. So now, theoretically, I should be able to go to this PC here, and I should be able to ping 192.168.2.2, which is the PC2. Now remember, the first one sometimes times out, no big deal. And then everything works. And then I want to go to 3.2, which is PC3 over here. And something's telling me it's unreachable, and it's coming from 192.168.1.1. So I need to figure that out. Alright, so I got to figure out what I did wrong. So I'm going to go to my router, and this is probably just something that I screwed up. And I look at my tables, and I see one for 192.168.1, and I see one for 192.168.2. So I'm not seeing the 192.168.3 from the right. So why am I not? So if I go to the second router, same thing. Actually, let me get out of there. Let's do show IP route. Alright, he does not have a route to 192.168.3 either, so I must have done something wrong over here. So if I go look over here, and I do show IP pro, I am routing for the 192.168.3 network, so that's in there. So I gotta have something wrong. So if I put my mouse over the router, and there you see the problem. Basically my PC here, 192.168.3.2, 192.168.3.1 is the default gateway, so the PC's right, but if I go to the router here, and I'll just cheat here and go to the physical, you see I forgot to put in the IP address. Don't tell anybody, it's a secret. Boom. Now if I go here, now you can see that 3 address showed up. So go back to my PC, up arrow, wait for it. Yeah, and again, don't forget the first one sometimes times out because it's got to learn the route, and all the routers have to learn the route, but now I'm good. So I got EIGRP configured, I got basic connectivity all the way through my network. I only have one more thing I have to do. I got to create a default route, and then I got to push that default route out to the other routers. Excuse me. So let's go create the default route. I'm going to go to 2. And I'm just going to do a show IP interface brief. So my loopback is 172.16.60.1. So config T IP route. Remember, a default route is always 0.0.0.0, and the subnet mask is 0.0.0.0, meaning I want anything. You know, this would match anything, and I'm going to point it to the loopback. So IP route quad 0 with another quad 0, and then where I'm going to send it to. So I'm going to send it to the loopback. Enter. Boom. And it says duh because it's the router. I hate when that happens. So what we're going to do is change that to loopback 0. Sorry about that. Alright, so again, IP route, all the zeros, and then the exit interface loopback 0. So now we need to propagate this route out to the other router. So first, let me just show you. If I do show IP route, there's my static route. And it says, hey, blah, 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 send it to loopback 0. Okay? So if I go to router 1, up arrow and do his show, he obviously is not getting that. So now I need to push that out through updates. So come back to 2. Alright, so config T, router EIGRP1. Because remember, when we push this out, we want to push it out with EIGRP updates. So it has to be entered in where you do after you do EIGRP. So router EIGRP1, and then redistribute static. Hit enter. Boom. Alright, and that should be it. Now we should be able to go to router 1 and router 3, and they should have that IP address in there. Alright, so I go to router 1, and I do up arrow, show IP. I just made a bunch of stuff so you can see the new route when it pops in. Boom, and you can see there it is. It's learned it from, it learned it from EIGRP. EX means it's coming from another source, an external source, and then there it is, and it points to blah. And if I go to 3, hopefully he has it too. Well, I need to get out of there, clear that up for you. Show IP route. Boom, and then he's got it too. And that is all you have to do. Just do basic connectivity, so you got to put IP addresses on. The IP math part is going to be difficult, but you guys have already had the sheets. You guys should be able to prepare for that. And then you got to enable EIGRP, create the default route, and then push it out through that way. All right, if you got any questions, again, bring them up in class. And again, you can ask questions before you start the hands-on. All right, guys, good luck.